I've got the back taken off the set, so you can take a look inside. I took a peek, and what I noticed right away is that this appears to have a replacement picture tube. 21FAP4 Sylvania, whereas this should have a 21ESP4, so I think that has been replaced, which would explain why it's so bright. Now, I don't mean to sound like a Predicta apologist, but I think a lot of guys who work on them and find them so frustrating have not worked on other brands from the same era, because you'll find a lot of similarities. So just as this set has a push-on, push-off power switch, which is prone to be flaky, this set also uses circuit boards and couplates and that wonderful technique of stakes with wires wrapped around them. And it's just as much fun to take these boards off and work on them as it is in the Predictas. In fact, this has an even more annoying twist. Notice board components on this side. Tubes are actually on the other side. I already have some experience working on these from that set back there, which is an M4 chassis. This is an M5, slightly newer, but it looks very, very similar, and I don't doubt it will be just as much fun to work on. Now, I do have a little decision to make. I'll be helped when I test this pitch tube, because I do actually have a 21ESP4, which I ended up putting in that TV, but it's not quite right for it. That should have a 21CEP4, which I have since picked up. And I think this CRT might work well in a Predicta. I have to check on the length of it. So what I might end up doing is do a little swapping around here. Put a 21CEP4 in that TV, new old stock, and put the new old stock 21ESP4s in that set, in this set, and put this set in the pedestal Predicta that was dropped off for restoration. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure if the neck is quite as short on this though as the Predicta would take. We shall see. At any rate, the reason I want to take a look inside of this is I want to order up some parts. And that's why I like to work on multiple projects at once, is that I want to see what parts I need to order. So I'm going to be ordering parts for this and the Predicta at the same time. And there are some parts that I don't normally stock. There are some 1000 volt, 1600 volt capacitors in this set that I'm going to need to get for sure. Here's the chassis up on the workbench. I just disconnected the yoke, get it out of the way, after making note of where the wires go. So here is that tuning mechanism, driven by a motor down here, looks like a gearbox up here, and then some sort of position mechanism up here. The stop seems pretty straightforward. You push this in, strips one of these over, and when it gets to the right position, it pops back out. This I'm not so sure about. Because it's not the same for every channel position. So now it's kind of like that. And it goes there, and then there. Don't know, but I figure, well, at the very least I can clean things and lube them up and see if it works any better. But before I get to that, I want to just dive right into this. It's very similar to the M4 I worked on, but a little bit more sophisticated. It's got a few more couplates in it, or more, maybe not more sophisticated, but more evolved. A little bit more miniaturization. And a few additions, like this is a width control, the other one does not. This switches a coil in and out of the flyback circuit, 3-position width control. There's no width control at all on the other M4 chassis set. Overall the boards look pretty similar though. So I think I'll start with this guy first. Need to disconnect a few wires, move a few screws, and pull it out. Also very, very dusty. I want to clean that off And take some more reference photos so I can actually see the color of these wires. I'm slowly getting this board out. I tell you, this is actually, I think, a lot harder to get out than a predictor board. So at least in the predictors, the wires pretty much attach around the perimeter, and here they're all over the place, and a lot of them are soldered on. Very difficult to get this board out. Now that the board is out, I can work on it more readily. And notice some of these components are rather odd values, like 0.018 microfarad, 600 volt, or 0.01 microfarad, 1000 volt. These are not parts I normally keep on hand, so I had to place an order, which has just arrived. I went with DigiKey this time, and I also got parts for a predictor television I will also be working on. So a lot of what's in here are little capacitors that I'm going to use to make new couplate networks. That's what all these little guys are for. But also got a lot of the, or all of the oddball parts that I'm going to need. Like here's a 0.01 microfarad rated for 1.25 kilovolts. So that will be going on this board in place of this guy. I should have 0.018 in there somewhere. A few other things. Let's see, this guy, that is a dual selenium rectifier. Let's see, it's dated to 1959, 26 week of 1959. I imagine that's what that stands for. I'll be replacing that with a dual diode. Oh, I've got some lying around here somewhere. You got to be careful to make sure that you get the right type. Some are common anode, some are common cathode. So 2 diodes in here, but only 3 leads, because 2 of the leads are attached together. Or sometimes they're stacked up, so they're running in series. And a cathode and an anode are connected together. Well, another odd one here, 0.12 microfarad. Interesting mix too of these ceramic tube types, and then some of these maroon plasticky types, and then one of these bumblebees, which looks like it's starting to split open. And a couple of these networks. Now this has just got 2 leads. I'm not sure if that's a network or a type of specialized capacitor. And this little thing, I think, is a spark gap. So like a little piece of circuit board material with 2 leads that come close together but don't quite touch. That would be to safely discharge any built-up charge that's hit a certain potential enough to bridge the gap. It would just spark here instead of elsewhere in the set. The horizontal hole is pretty flaky on this set, and I'm thinking this could very well be why. It's the AFC dual diode made out of selenium, and these have a habit of going bad over time. I'm going to be replacing it with one of these, which is a modern dual Schottky type diode, common cathode, which is the center terminal. I just need to double check that that lines up with the old one. They label it 1, 2, 3. And if you look on the bottom, 2 is indeed the center pin, so should have no trouble there. Just pop this guy right in. The old one was, down in here. Just notice I don't exactly put any diode symbols or anything on here. So just bend the leads out a little bit, and it'll go in right there.